So Trump has been making some pretty big moves as of late. I mean, when hasn't he since coming back into office? Obviously, the first couple of weeks after coming in, he's going to make a lot of big changes. And he's definitely been making changes. First off, we might as well just talk about what he has said on Gaza. We have here from the Associated Press. Trump won't rule out deploying U.S. troops to support rebuilding Gaza, sees long-term U.S. ownership. Yup. Pretty disgusting. Let's just read this article here. President Donald Trump suggested that displaced Palestinians in Gaza be permanently resettled outside the war-torn area, proposed the U.S. take ownership in developing and redeveloping the area into the Riviera of the Middle East. Trump's brazen proposal Tuesday appears certain to roil the next stage of talks meant to extend the tenuous ceasefire between Israel and Hamas and secure the release of the remaining hostages left in Gaza. And I mean, now I said this at the time of the ceasefire, like even though it was very much a good thing, it was something that obviously wasn't going to last, so we might as well try to enjoy it for as long as that lasts. And it didn't seem to take that long. And, he's very much pushing for the Palestinians to be moved. Like he's not like playing on like, oh, we're gonna like redevelop the homes and then we'll bring them back in and they can live there. They're proposing that they get to rebuild the area and the Palestinians move somewhere else. Like he's not doing it for them, he's doing it so that the US can take it over and like build casinos and shit like that. He wants to like essentially make it a business. Like he wants to make it an area where he can just give his billionaire friends an entire land to play with. That's what he wants to do. It's it's literally like a fucking 90s villains, like a 90s billionaires movie villain plot. Where it's just like, hey, after we fucking like destroy this area, we're just gonna like move on in and just put all of our businesses here and then all of you can move somewhere else. It's completely fucking disgusting. The US will take over the Gaza Strip and we will do a job with it too, Trump said at a evening's news conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu by his side. The president, who made his name as a New York real estate developer, added, "We'll make sure that it's done world class. It'll be wonderful for the people, Palestinians mostly, we're talking about. Not by rebuilding their homes and, giving them independence. No, by just having them move somewhere else while we just mow over their land more than we already have with like bombs and shit and just making our own shit." Trump outlined his thinking as he held talks with Netanyahu at the White House, while the two leaders also discussed the fragile ceasefire and hostage deal in the Israeli-Hamas conflict and shared concerns about Iran. Now, this isn't exactly going very well with the people that, like the countries that Trump wants to essentially just relocate the Palestinians to, with Egypt and Jordan. As it says right here, allies reject the idea. Egypt and Jordan and other U.S. allies in the Middle East have cautioned Trump that relocating Palestinians from Gaza would threaten Mideast stability, risk expanding the conflict, and undermine a decades-long push by the U.S. and allies for a two-state solution. Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry issued a sharply worded reaction to Trump, noting their long call for an independent Palestinian state was a firm, steadfast, and unwavering position. Saudi Arabia has been in negotiations with the U.S. over a deal to diplomatically recognize Israel in exchange for a security pact and other terms. The duty of the international community today is to work to alleviate the severe human suffering endured by the Palestinian people, who will remain committed to their land and will not budge from it. And that's the thing, is that Palestinians do not want to move, and they're very steadfast on that. They're just like, no, like even though like our houses are destroyed, this is still our land. You can't just move us away from it. And when the people refuse to leave, I wonder how U.S. troops are going to react. It's not going to be like a peaceful relocation as Trump wants to make it seem. He very much well knows that it's going to be violent, and he doesn't care, and Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't really care. This is essentially just them to try to like put over a band-aid for their continued genocide of Palestinians, which has still been going on. Like even with the ceasefire, there has still been Palestinians who have been killed, to no one's surprise. there's plenty of obstacles that's gonna come the way of Trump. Obviously, one of them, like it states here, Palestinians don't want to leave. It's very obvious. Um, we also have here Arab countries will not accept Palestinian refugees. Egypt and Jordan, which made peace with Israel decades ago, have repeatedly rejected previous proposals to resettle Palestinians within their boundaries. Like, that's the thing. It's just like you can't just push these people into a country that has repeatedly not been willing to accept them. So it's incredibly fucking disgusting. I do like this point right here, though. Israelis welcome the plan, but hostages are a priority. Which, I don't know if they are, because I don't know if we have. No, we don't. We don't have the post here. Let me go pull it up. But there has been proof. I mean, I think it's literally even been admitted that Israel did not care about, bombing or gassing like the hostages that were taken from Hamas. Breaking, IDF confesses to gassing numerous hostages to death in Gaza. The gas stays underground and people suffocate. We realized we could effectively target anyone underground using the Air Force bunker buster bombs, which even if they don't destroy the tunnel, release gas that kill everyone inside. The tunnel then becomes a death trap. According to 6 sources, this was not an isolated case, but one of dozens of Israeli airstrikes that likely endangered or killed hostages. They described how the military command greenlighted attacks on homes of suspected kidnappers and the tunnels of which senior Hamas figures were directing the fighting. Militants were not the only ones who died from gas exposure. On November 10th, the Israeli army bombed a tunnel that it had identified as a hiding place of the commander of Hamas's northern Gazan brigade. The attack also killed 3 Israeli hostages. The army recovered their body and returned them to Israel the following month. Initially, the army told the hostages' family that the 3 men had been murdered by Hamas. Later, however, they said that that the hostages, whose bodies were found intact and bore no gunshot wounds, had died from carbon monoxide poisoning caused by Israeli bombing. And this is something that was very obvious, that obviously Israel did not care for the hostages. They were just trying to use them as a reasoning to continue their assault on the Israeli public, to indiscriminately bomb, because it's very obvious that the way that they operated had was not in a way that you would do it if you actually cared about the hostages, because they were openly attacking populated areas, and we're just oh, these the Hamas is just using these innocent Palestinians as human shields, and keeping the hostages around them. But it's just then don't fucking attack the area if there's a risk that the hostages are going to get injured if you actually care about them. There's also this weird claim that Trump has been making lately that has nothing to do with the relocation plan, but he continuously has spread this lie that $50 million is being sent to Gaza.
We are merely looking at parts of the big bureaucracy where there has been tremendous waste and fraud and abuse.
And now this comes from the Elon Musk stuff, which we might not even really get into, if I'm going to be honest, of, him and his little goons, going into federal spending and shit like that, just getting shit that they really should not be getting into, and are just kind of being hey, look at this weird stuff that money is being spent on, without really understanding why the money is being spent on certain stuff. I think there's beetle mating rituals, shit like that, but it's that stuff that helps art. It's weird shit. I don't even know if I want to get into Elon Musk stuff, because it's just fucking so stupid. We might get into it in this video. I was gonna make it its own separate video. I might as well put some of that stuff in this video.
In that process, we identified and stopped $50 million being sent to Gaza to buy condoms for Hamas. 50 million.
So yeah, this is just this is very much a lie. And we got here from factcheck.org, essentially telling, fact checking what was actually being done with that money. Now, obviously, this tells the story of what's been going on, like how Trump even reached this conclusion. But here we have press for the source of information by the Washington Post fact checker. I guess Trump's press secretary cited a Fox News story which stated that an unnamed White House official said the State Department had halted several $1 million going to condoms in Gaza this past weekend, but not 50 million. A White House official directed reporters to X post by State Department spokesperson Tammy Bruce, who wrote on January 28th, American taxpayer dollars spent overseas should be spent wisely and for the benefit of Americans. The pause in foreign assistance has allowed the State Department to prevent unjustified and non-emergency spending. The first example Bruce offers, condoms, prevented 102 million in unjustified spending to a contractor in Gaza, including money for contraception. Oh my god, this is so stupid. So it just basically tells the story of like how this story even really spread. But here we have right here, the Washington Post noted that the U.S. has a program, the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, which distributes condoms in other countries to help prevent the spread of HIV infection. But the program does not work with any nations in the Middle East. So they got the location wrong. Even here it says the report said 89% of the funding for contraceptives went to Africa. And here's the thing, like, they're trying to use condoms as like a substitute for contraceptives because like they think that it's gonna make it weird and some shit. I don't like making sure that like STDs like HIV don't spread is obviously a good thing to like help a population. And there's also like it's just so stupid. I feel like that framing only really works if you just don't understand the situation or if you just are against contraceptives as a whole. Like, I don't know, it's just such a weird fucking lie, but they continue to fucking spread it, and there's not a lot of pushback on it. They just let them say it. He also banned trans women from women's sports. This was obviously going to happen at some point. It is absolutely disgusting. Like, Jesus Christ. And he continues to tell the lie of that, like, one women's boxer that everyone accused of being trans, but ended up not being trans because, people just can't stop being idiots. I just hate this. I hate this so much. I don't know. This is... like, what's going on? What's happening? Everything is just going crazy. They plan on getting rid of the Department of Education. Fucking, we got Elon Musk running around with his fucking Zoomer army. Like his like Doge team that everyone's been clowning on. Like right here, these 6 baby-faced Doge engineers form a crack team of Elon Musk. They're like, our government is about to be run by fucking Zoomers. Look at them. These are the guys. One of them has a fucking broccoli haircut. These are the guys who are working our government. And people, like, ever since people have found out who these guys are, Elon Musk has been saying that any reporters who report on this are doxing them. That's not how doxing works. These guys are public servants. Their information should be out there for everyone to know. And I'm not sure if it was one of them. If one of these guys is the same guy. I don't think so, no. But there was another employee, I believe he's very young too, he's 25, who got fired from Doge. So fucking stupid. There's a government department called Doge. Why? I can't get over that they literally have a department called Doge. It's so fucking stupid. But apparently there was a employee for the department that had to resign after he was linked to multiple like racist posts on Twitter, and now Elon Musk has brought him back. It's just so fucking stupid. Like, he said a lot of like crazy shit especially in stuff regarding. That's the thing, is that like I got this BBC article that talks about the situation, and they bring up JD Vance, who said that the employees should be given a second chance. The tweet that people were bringing up was literally one of the guy in question being like anti like expressing anti-Indian racism. But yeah, essentially the guy in question, the employee in question, was like writing about like normalized Indian hate, and fucking JD Vance of all people was just like trying to defend him, being like, oh, we need to give him a second chance. It's just like, dude, you have an Indian wife and Indian children. Like, what are you talking about? It's very obvious he just doesn't give a shit about them. And like, Elon Musk is just like ruining this country. It's just so fucking stupid. Everything, like, that's the thing. I want to like talk about this stuff. I mean, we have right here, this was something that happened like a couple days ago, probably like a week ago by the time this video comes out. Democrats are pushing back against Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency as it's turned its attention to the Education Department, with lawmakers raising concerns with Doge's accesses to internal systems containing personal information on tens of millions of Americans. So essentially, there were lawmakers who were trying to get into the Department of Education building, but they were stopped by this one guy. This one guy just stood on the outside of the building, just blocking the doorway. And they just didn't decide to like push him and try to get through. Like, I don't know. Apparently there was security in there, but it's just like, that's the thing too, is like Trump and Musk are just essentially fucking up the entire system, and Democrats are just kind of like, well, we're just kind of complain about it, but that's about it. The department has been in turmoil as Trump, a Republican, sets out to abolish it. The White House is considering a executive order that would tell the education secretary to slash the department as far as possible and urge Congress to fully terminate it. Dozens of employees have been placed on paid leave with little explanation, and workers from Doge have begun scouring the department's records as they look to slash spending. Musk's Doge team already has gained access to a database. It's just gonna get worse. It's just gonna get so much worse. And we're barely gonna see any pushback from the actual like Democrats in this case. Like, this is all they did. This is all they did.
Hey everybody, I'm here with multiple members of Congress. We're here to go to the Department of Education to fight for education, and they have locked the doors. They're not letting us in. It says all access entrance. There's this random guy out here who's refusing to let us in.
His name is
and right
Jim
here,
Harefield.
what's his name?
His name is Jim Harefield.
And right here they have armed officers as well, acting like we're dangerous. A year ago, I'd be able to walk into this building and not be locked out. This is what they're...
And here's the thing, like, obviously there's security there. You know, like they said, the doors are locked. But as this person on Twitter mentions, so we all watched elected representatives in South Korea put their bodies on the line to stop a coup, and our reps can't drum up the courage to at least throw a chair or something. Like, that's the thing. It's just, it's bare minimum. It's like trying to get likes on social media, but not actually trying that hard. Like, you're just complaining and not exactly trying to do any sort of change, or trying to like spark up any like real, you know, change, when there's obviously just a coup being attempted in front of our very eyes. Like, Elon Musk with his Department of Government Efficiency is essentially committing a coup where they're just like, we're just going to take over all these departments filled with elected representatives that were elected there by the public, and we're just going to make sure that they can't do their job so that we can just run everything. And instead of actually like fighting back to some degree, the Democrats are just kind of like, we're just going to complain, but we're not really going to do anything. We're not going to show some actual courage. It's just completely fucking insane. And I don't know. At the start of this year, I wanted to do like more fun content, but like everything just ends up going wrong. Nothing has been working out well. It really hasn't. So that's just where I'm gonna leave this here. Everything just sucks, and it's just getting worse.